What do you want out of your Zigbee coordinator? Well, never mind. They don't care. Whatever you want from a Zigbee coordinator, SMLight probably has a coordinator just for you. Today we'll be looking at 5 different coordinators. They're the same, but actually not the same. We'll start in a couple of seconds. Quick note before we start. These 5 coordinators were sent to me from SMLight free of charge to test and do review video on them, but no money was exchanged. SMLight didn't see the video before you did, and also they had zero impact on what I will be saying in today's video. But yeah, I know that some of you will consider receiving free product to do review a payment of itself. Also, this video will have 2 hidden giveaways. One will be for a chance to win 1 out of 3 coordinators, and the other one will be for a chance to win once again 1 out of 3 WLED controllers. So stick around and hope you win something. But now let's dive in and see what are the differences between those devices that I received. Let's start with the intruder, and that intruder is SLZB-07, or just plain old USB coordinator. This one reminds me of my current main device, /CC2652RB, but no, it's not using the same Texas Instruments chipset, instead it is using Silicon Labs EFR32MG21 SoC. Same as the one you may find, for example, in SkyConnect or Sonoff E-dongle. Unlike 06 series, it only has 20 dB SoC amplifier paired with 3 dB antenna. Footprint of the device is very tiny. Not as tiny as SkyConnect, for example, but unlike SkyConnect, it also has detachable antenna. Also comparing it to other 06 series devices, this is very limited device. But don't get me wrong, it's not limited in a Zigbee way, just you cannot use it over the Wi-Fi or Ethernet, for example, that you can do on 06 series, and it doesn't have its own UI. You can still use experimental mode and also get Matter support on it. Same thing as you would be able to do with SkyConnect or Sonoff E. It is very easy to add device to both ZHA but also Zigbee to MQTT. Also, it is easy to flash the latest firmware, select different vendor for the firmware or go to third-party one. But also, unlike 06, it misses on some of the functionality. Here I'm aiming or looking at UI. My experience for adding it to ZHA was really easy because as soon as I attached to my green, it detected the device and I was able to add it through the integrations page. As far as Zigbee to MQTT is concerned, you need to find out the path to the device. This is that standard /dev/tty USB-0, for example, port, and then use that port inside the Zigbee to MQTT configurations page. And once again, it should be it. When you are ready to flash the firmware, you will need to use either third-party add-on, such as ZigStar, but I would really recommend that you just unplug the device, plug it in your PC, and go visit the official flasher webpage from the SMLight, where you can just plug in the device, select the firmware that you want to flash, and press flash button. That's it. Why would you buy this one? If we look and check current price, it only costs less than $10. Getting this device with this SoC for that price is really awesome. So if not anything else, you should go for it because of the price. You get really awesome Silicon Labs based Zigbee controller that you can flash with multiple protocol as Open Thread coordinator, but also as a router. I simply couldn't find anything wrong with this device. And for all of you saying, aha, Silicon Labs on Zigbee to MQTT. Did you upgrade your Zigbee to MQTT to April release? Did you see completely new firmware? Check out the release notes, there is a thread to GitHub there that will shine a new light on the experimental support for that type of SoC in Zigbee to MQTT. Before we go into details about other coordinators, 06 series, let me go together with you through the UI. This UI should be same. Well, actually, there is a bit of a change as of a couple of hours ago, but they all should be the same in terms of functionality. So if I show you one UI, you know that this UI will work for the 06 PoE or non-PoE version, 06M, 06 P7, 06 P10, and other models. The UI here is the same. You will only be able to access this UI if you are not using USB as a USB connection between the Home Assistant and this coordinator. For this, you need to have either Ethernet or Wi-Fi connection. Go to the IP address of the device, and voila, this is it. I think this particular screen is from the 06 PoE version of the coordinator that we will be talking about in just a couple of seconds. This is the main screen. It gives you information about the device, general status, how it is operating, what mode is enabled, is the Ethernet connected, is the Wi-Fi client turned on, is Wi-Fi access point turned on, is the socket connected, device uptime, socket uptime, MDNS address or name, internet access, is it on or off, did you turn on automatic Zigbee updates, is the VPN enabled, and is the VPN connection alive. Plus statistics on the device, both Zigbee coordinator or Zigbee SOC and also ESP SOC. Then you have Ethernet connection information, is it on, the IP address, gateway, etc., and also the Wi-Fi status. If we go into the mode section, once again it was same for all devices. It's not the same, and it was part of bad news I received from SMLight, but we will talk about it later in the video. In the mode, you select what mode you want this device to operate with. I prefer Zigbee to Ethernet mode. It means that it is routing Zigbee network over the Ethernet cable to my Home Assistant. You have option of using Zigbee over Wi-Fi, which in some cases for you may be better choice, and of course the last option is to use Zigbee to USB, where you simply attach via the USB cable this device to your Home Assistant and use it as any standard USB connected coordinator. I've tested this device as Ethernet based coordinator, as Wi-Fi coordinator, and as USB coordinator. In terms of functionality, unless you have a really overcrowded Wi-Fi network and you have a lot of lag there, or also overcrowded or bad Ethernet connection, both Ethernet and Wi-Fi should be a good choice. And also remote connections. Yes, this is not the first time I'm talking about the ability to have coordinator somewhere else, for example in another country, in summer house, at your parents' home, wherever, but this one really takes it one step further. Let's talk about that in just a couple of seconds. Then we have network options, where you can configure Ethernet, disable DHCP, specify the fixed IP address, subnet mask, gateway, DNSs, and also ability to set up Wi-Fi network. As I'm not using this device as a Wi-Fi connected device, I haven't set that one here. Then we have wizard for the configuration for Zigbee to MQTT, ZHA, and also USB. Select your preferred software or controller integration, for example ZHA, and here you have socket that you need to copy and paste inside Home Assistant. Same goes for Zigbee to MQTT. Just paste this one, but it's preferred to go directly inside the YAML file instead of using the add-on UI configuration editor. Same goes for USB, but unfortunately it will not be able to tell you right now, right here, what is the port that it is attached to, but that one you have to figure out yourself. Plus you also have option to configure serial speed and socket port. I really do recommend for you to leave these alone. Security section allows you to configure security settings. For example, disable web server when socket is connected. That means that as soon as the connection is successful to ZHA or Zigbee to MQTT, and this one changes from gray to green, this screen will not be available anymore. It will not allow connections. Only when the connection is broken, this screen will be accessible. Then you have option to enable the web server authentication, where you can specify the login name and also password. Plus, you can also enable IP whitelist, this one here, to only allow connections from a specific socket. So for example, from the IP address of your Home Assistant. I will skip next one and let's go to the settings and tools. In general settings, we can change the name, and this will also change the MDNS name, if I'm not mistaken. You type in the new name, for example, this one is SLZB-06, type in PoE, click Save. We have to restart the device, and in just a couple of seconds, this device will be back online with the new name. You can see that the new name is SLZB-06 PoE, which is a very bad choice of address. for using with MDNS. But on the same page you can do Zigbee restart, Zigbee flash mode. This is useful if you want to manually use the, for example, Texas Instruments flasher to flash the firmware. You can do ESP32 restart or router reconnect. Then we have excellent option of updating all our firmwares. This one is for the ESP module and this one here is for the Zigbee modules. When I will be talking about flashing the latest firmware, I actually use this functionality here. I use Flash Custom Core Firmware, selected the file, update and updated core firmware. If you want to stick with the original, and I really would recommend that one, you just click on check for core updates. It will list you all the available versions. For example, we have this one here. Current core firmware is version 2.0.16. There is 2.0.20 development version and also 2.0.18. What is a bit strange is that we cannot close this page with the X mark on the top. If you want to close it, you have to go to bottom and click close. Same applies for the Zigbee software or Zigbee firmware. You click on it and you have here a list of available coordinators, but also router firmware. Okay, now let's talk about something that is very neat, but I myself would never ever use it. Maybe I'm just overcautious. There is ability to set up automatic Zigbee firmware update. Click here and you specify at what time you want to check for new firmware, from 1 or 0 to 24. Here it's 3 AM, and then also specify the interval for days. Each how many days it will check for firmware update. If it sees the new update, it will automatically go, fetch it, and of course install it. This is a really awesome functionality. But as I also consider Zigbee network important in my home, I'm not sure how I would trust each new firmware that gets released. I know that there are less and less bugs in the Zigbee firmwares, but still I like to wait a couple of days, weeks, even sometimes months before updating to the latest available firmware. Then we have LED settings. You can disable all LEDs, or also, very nice thing, enable LEDs night mode. LEDs are very tiny and they are not bright, but if you are sleeping with this device and you put it on your pillow and you are also bothered with LEDs, you can set it here and say, for example, at 10 PM, turn off the lights and only turn them on at 8 o'clock. So you and your coordinator have a nice sleep. Then you have ability to set up time. I am GMT +2. This is the NTP server 1 address and the server 2 address. Click on save and my time will update to my current local time. And system log allows you to check the system logs. You may notice that I've missed one setting. Let me get back to that one here. It's in general settings. Besides the name change, you also have ability to send statistical data back to the manufacturer. It is on by default. Please help us improve by allowing the sharing of non-sensitive analytics, unique device ID and device type, and installed firmware only. So on one hand, I do send all my analytics to Home Assistant, but some of you may have issue with this one. If you do not want to share the analytics with SMLight, you may want to turn this setting off. Just click on it and press save. But now comes the most interesting part. When I did the previous video on one of the coordinators and how you can hook it up in a remote location, I wasn't even sure that this functionality was available like this. Well, actually it is. Let's click on VPN and we have VPN WireGuard client here. You just enable it, type in the settings, local IP address, private key, endpoint IP address, public key, the port, click save, and if this device is located somewhere else, it will then open the VPN connection. That's it. This device is a remote device and it doesn't need any specific settings on your router. It will open settings for itself, or it will open a tunnel from device to your network and connect to your Home Assistant instance. Nice. It really is nice. Besides that, you can of course change the language. Not all languages are supported. Croatian is not listed here. There is option to press a button, report bugs, suggest idea, report translation error, and give positive feedback. By the way, if you need support, and I've heard from a couple of my followers that have bought products from them, that support is really excellent. They were able to reach them on Telegram and everything was sorted very fast. And also we have button to reboot the device. And that's it. This UI should be same for all 06 series coordinators. Now I've shown you and I will not be showing it anymore. Now let's look at SLZB-06 PoE and non-PoE version. Current price for SLZB-06 is 27.86 euros. And that's a really awesome price. It is of course the current price with a heavy discount, but still it's a very good price for device capable of what device is capable of doing. In terms of PoE and non-PoE version, actually I don't know what is the price. I don't know if it's even still or yet available. The non-PoE device can be seen on the front page of SMLight, and I know that there is one because I received non-PoE version too, but that's actually the only difference between those devices. Does it have PoE support or if it doesn't have support for PoE? The only reason why non-PoE device should exist is because of the price. How you hook it up? You just hook up the Ethernet port, but you also need to provide power via the USB-C cable. And by the way, all PoE devices also can work that way. You do not need to have PoE on your switch. You can hook it up with a normal Ethernet cable and provide power via the USB-C. And that's how I've tested all of the devices. I did check if PoE is working, but since my PoE switch is very limited in terms of ports, I just used the normal port and powered everything via the USB-C cable. But also it may be one of the biggest issues of SMLight in general. They currently, I think, have around 8, 9 or 10 different coordinators. They are really all awesome, but you just have too many options, so you don't know what option to go for. And if you're expecting this video to have some final ruling and say, this one is best, it's not so simple, but I will talk about that at the end of the video. Device is based on Texas Instruments CC2652 SoC, and that's tried and tested SoC used by many companies. It supports Bluetooth 5.2 low energy, Thread and also Zigbee 3.0. As with all PoE and non-PoE devices, once again it supports Ethernet connection, Wi-Fi connection and USB connection. I did try actually all of them, as I said, and they all work perfectly on all devices. There is not a single 06 device that does something better than the other, comparing it in functionality of Wi-Fi over Ethernet over USB-C. All of the 06 type of devices I tested include 20 dB onboard amplifier plus 5 dB antenna, and that really gives it a good coverage and very good signal, much further away than, for example, typical Sonos dongles or Sky Connect. All those 06 devices can operate either as coordinators or as routers. Adding device to both ZHA and Zigbee to MQTT via the Ethernet or via the Wi-Fi or even via the USB was very smooth. You go into the UI, you copy the configuration parameters, you paste them inside either ZHA or Zigbee to MQTT, and this should be it. Device works out of box. Same goes if you are using this device as a USB coordinators, you just plug it in, you specify the USB port in the Zigbee to MQTT, or you select the USB port in ZHA, click OK, and that's it. Signal quality when I paired the devices was really excellent. I had almost maximum strength or maximum signal quality at around 5 meters distance, which is really good. Considering all the devices I was testing, I was over 50% done, and I could almost see the light at the end of the tunnel for this video and also this review. And do you also want to see the light at the end of the tunnel? Well, here is a chance for you to win one A1-SLWF-03 WLED controller I featured in my video previous week. In order to qualify for this giveaway, you need to like the video, you need to be subscribed to this channel if you haven't subscribed already, and also you need to leave a comment why you should win A1-SLWF-03 WLED controller. Don't forget to add hashtag SMLight03 for a chance to win one of the 3 available A1-SLWF-03 controllers. 4 device that I tested from the SMLight was SLZB-06 currently also selling for the price of €27.89. The difference between the previous PoE model and this one is that this one is using Silicon Labs EFR32MG21 SoC. same as the SLZB-07. That's the only difference, but also not exactly. The UI is the same, support for Home Assistant, both ZHA and Zigbee to MQTT is the same, arrange the device is great, and yes again, it also supports Thread and Matter, same as Sky Connect or Sonoff Dongle E. I really cannot add you anything extra about this device. Yes, I know, when people hear Silicon Labs, some have excellent opinion, if you're using for example ZHA, others have not so good opinion, if they were using Zigbee to MQTT. But things are changing and things have changed. Even the experimental firmware inside Zigbee to MQTT or the firmware that you use with Zigbee to MQTT is good enough today that you can use it in a production environment. There are less problems, less issues, so no matter where you go, this device should be okay. One thing you must know, the biggest difference in 06 and 06M is that exact chipset, or SoC. While they provide same functionality, they are not the same. Silicon Labs one is newer. In terms of performance, if we compare 06 and 06M, 06M is much better. It's newer, it has faster SoC, it has more flash and also more RAM available. But not everything is in the speed, not everything is in the flash available memory and also RAM available memory. It also depends all on the firmware. In my opinion, the P version still has a bit better firmware than the newer EFR32 ones, but the EFR32 is catching up to the P version of the Texas Instruments SoC. That's why I said I will not make it easy for you to select your future coordinator. If you have seen those devices in action, you also know that ZHA supports multi-protocol, but also supports OpenThread. And yes, with the EFR32, you are good to go that route. Fifth and the last device I've tested from SMLight out of 8, 9, 10 they are currently producing is this one here, SLZB-06 P7. Currently this device is selling for €32 and 54 cents. There is also P10 or newer version, but I didn't try that one. I'm still not sure if that device is already available for sale or not. I think it is, but as I said, I didn't test this one. This one, as I said, is using P7, that means CC2652 P7 SoCs. It's a newer brother to CC2652P, with more flash and also more RAM. Remember that just a couple of seconds ago I said that 06M or EFR32 based SoC has more flash memory and also RAM memory. Well, this one, or P7, is bridging the gap. It has more memory both for flash and also for RAM compared to the normal P version. It supports same protocols as CC2652P, and they are Bluetooth 5.2 low energy, Thread, Zigbee, but also this one adds Matter support. Let's say that this SoC is really close to EFR32 MG21. In terms of UI, in terms of performance, in terms of capabilities, it's very uneventful. And that's a good thing here, meaning that all of the coordinators from 06 series are practically the same. They all allow you to use it in any way or anywhere you want to use them. It can be somewhere remote inside your apartment or your house, via the Wi-Fi connection, via the Ethernet connection, or very close to your Home Assistant via the USB cable. If you are using Proxmox, you can go with Ethernet or Wi-Fi. If you are using Green or some Raspberry Pi, you can just plug it directly inside that device. And yes, same thing goes here, WireGuard for VPN connection, and you can have it on the other side of the globe. So in terms of the performance, in terms of pairing, this device is a pair or the same. That's why I said it's uneventful. And in this case, it really is a good thing. Uneventful means everything is working as it should work. You just plug it in, add it to Home Assistant the way you want to add it, and it's working. The only thing that you want from your devices is actually that they are working. We had a lot of stories about people hating or disliking Home Assistant because they have to tinker a lot. With those devices, you don't have to tinker. And if you want to tinker, it's very easy to do it via the UI interface. So at this point, I finished testing everything I could test with those devices. There is only so much you can test. I tested all types of the connections, I tested all types of whatever I could, and it was done. And it took me really long time. Remember, these are 5 devices, 4 of them have 3 types of connections, you have 2 systems, so that's a lot of testing. But just when I was finally done with all of the testing, Karina, hi Karina from SMLight, has given me some bad news. No, it's not bad news for you. Actually, it's great news for you. But it was bad news for me because I've done so much testing and I was finally done, and it was just one day before the video was about to be released for YouTube channel members. Yes, YouTube channel members get to see my videos at least one day earlier than the normal YouTube viewers. So what's the problem? They've done it again. They added new support for SLZB-06 device. It was around 11 p.m. I got access to new beta firmware to try it out for Matter over Thread. Yes, Matter over Thread support on Texas Instruments SOC CC2652. That means back to some B-roll shooting and testing of everything. I updated the device with the custom firmware, and it was really easy because I used custom firmware flasher in the UI. Procedure to add to Home Assistant follows the standard route. Remember, all of this is still experimental, not for Stick but for Home Assistant too. Also, there is a limitation of OpenThread currently in Home Assistant. It only works with the USB connections, so you can't use it via Ethernet or Wi-Fi. At least not for now. You need to have Home Assistant Beta Matter support integration activated, and you do that via the integrations page. You click on Add, click on Matter, and then just install it. It's just few clicks. And you also need to install Home Assistant add-on called OpenThread. That one is, as I said, add-on. You have to go to add-on store, install it, and that's it. You now have option to add Matter devices. If you are already using 2024.4 release of Home Assistant, and by the way, you should really update if you haven't because it was released just a day or two ago, click on Add Matter Device and follow the new onboarding procedure. It will allow you to select if the device is new device or if it's already in use. If it's already in use, you can select what type of coordinator it is connected to, Google Home, Apple Home, or other controller, and then follow the procedure for each one of them. But we are not interested in that. We are interested in onboarding the device via this stick. For that, click on New Device, and if you want to add a new device, you need to open Home Assistant Companion app and follow the steps there. And this is it. You are all set to use Matter over Thread. And when I say you are all set with Matter over Thread, you actually can be all set. All you need to do is like the video, subscribe to channel, and leave comment that also includes hashtag SMLight06 for a chance to win one of 3 SLZB-06 devices. That's correct, we have 3 devices to give, so go ahead, subscribe if you haven't already, like the video, and leave comment why you need SLZB-06, and this comment must also include hashtag SMLight06 for chance to win one of these expanding controllers in terms of functionality. It's time for final conclusion. And as I've mentioned, unfortunately, I will not be able to rule out any of the devices or single out a specific device that's best for you. That is something that you will have to do for your own self. Check out this graphic that I made out of 5 devices I've tested because it can help you determine if you want to go 0.6 or 0.7 way or USB versus Ethernet, Wi-Fi and USB connection. If you are still not sure what device to select, let's look at a couple of reasons on why you should or why you shouldn't look at a specific device. Let's start with 0.6 PoE or non-PoE version. This device is very stable device, but also SOC is not the newest one. If you are looking for a stable device, stable firmware that works out of box both with ZHA and Zigbee to MQTT without any issues, it's not experimental, then the 0.6 version is for you. And by the way, on the web page from the manufacturer, SMLight, there is also this quick guide. It also points or puts the 0.6 series with the CC2652P SOC at the first place. The second device I would recommend, and it goes au pair with this one, is 0.6M. The difference between 0.6M and 0.6 is that 0.6M is still, unfortunately, with Zigbee to MQTT in the experimental phase. That doesn't mean that there haven't been significant improvements over the experimental firmware for Zigbee to MQTT, but officially, yes, it's still in the same phase. 0.6 has less RAM and has slower speed of the processor. 06M has higher speed of the processor and more memory for both flash and also RAM. And if you look at those characteristics, 06M is better placed or better suited or future-proof than 06. But again, 06 is more stable in terms of firmware. It has been tested by thousands and thousands of people, so both of them should be ranked number 1. Then we have 06P7. 06P7 is Texas Instruments' alternative to EFR32 from Silicon Labs. It has more available RAM for flash and for RAM. Processor is same speed as CC265P, but it's au pair or trying to be au pair with the EFR32 from Silicon Labs. The negative side currently with the P7 is unfortunately it cannot utilize the amplifier on board, at least not with the current firmwares. So instead of gaining 20 dB with amplifier plus 5 dB with antenna, you just get those 5 dB. In terms of coverage, that means that you should go with either 06 or 06M. Again, this may be fixed with the future firmware updates, but currently it's not. Last but not least, the device that I haven't tested is P10. That device has same better characteristics as P7, but you actually do not get anything more out of it. In terms of performance, more memory for flash and also RAM doesn't give you anything at this point, and it's more expensive. So if you are looking price-wise, you should go with P7 because it's less newer than the P10 and more bugs and better firmwares have been available for it. So we have 06 and 06M first place, we have P7 at the second place, and everything else falls under it. Unless of course you want to go with the stick. The only stick I tested was 07 and that one is great. So if you need just a stick, go with that one. I know that a lot of my viewers are already using SMLight products, so I really would like to hear what is your experience and what type of coordinator you are using yourself. No matter if you really do end up buying one or just considering this type of device, tell me what would be the device that you would prefer and why. Why would you go, for example, for Texas Instruments or Silicon Labs, or tell me why you wouldn't go for one or the other. If you did like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, especially if you want to win something in a giveaway. And also, if you still haven't subscribed, click subscribe, also if you want to win something on a giveaway. Check out the video if you've missed the giveaway part to see what you need to do to win one of the 6 prizes that you may win by watching and commenting on this video. And before I end up the video, I want to thank SMLight and Karina for sending me these devices, but also I want to thank all those wonderful people that are supporting me and that have become YouTube channel members. Thank you all for all of your support. But let's not forget each and every one of you who has watched, liked, shared, commented or subscribed to my channel. Thank you. If you too want to support the channel, you can do so by clicking the join button down below and becoming a YouTube channel member for only €2 or $2 per month. Or you can go to my merchandise store and get something there. Last but not least, you can always send me a super thanks, and I will be super thankful for that. I'll be seeing you next time. Until then, bye bye and have fun.